NDTV, and you are watching NDTV Prime.
It's a brand new week and we're back with you on CNB Bazaar Buzz. I'm Siddharth Vinayak Patankar. Thanks for joining us. And first up, as always, we take a look at just what we have on today's program. The Jeep Compass passes with flying colors in its Euro NCAP crash test. Given what's happening around India, we tell you how to spot a flood-damaged car in the used car market. And it's a look at the smaller engine on the Jaguar F-Pace. Right, so let's get started straight off then, and first up, talk about the Jeep Compass. Very popular car. It's already crossed 10,000 bookings here in India, and this month, September, is when Jeep will also begin deliveries of the petrol variants, remember. So all of that buzz is not just here in India. The car is starting to do well globally, and Euro NCAP has just crash tested the European version of the Jeep Compass. Now we're told it's the same build quality and the same spec that is built here in India too, so it's encouraging news to find out that it scored really well.
The Euro NCAP has crash tested the left-hand drive version of the Jeep Compass. While the right-hand drive cars are all made in India, the left-hand drive versions of the popular SUV are made in Mexico and has scored a 5-star rating in the crash test. Jeep Compass scored a 90% score for adult occupant safety, whereas child occupant safety was given an 83% score. The Compass also scored 64% for pedestrian safety. Euro NCAP found that the passenger compartment remained stable, protecting the front occupants from serious harm. The result also showcased good protection for rear passengers with minimal impact to critical areas like the knees or the chest. There are some differences between the Indian right-hand drive Compass and the left-hand drive version that has been tested. Where the Indian car gets only 6 airbags on the top of the line version, the Euro NCAP tested left-hand drive version gets 8 airbags and a standard autonomous braking system that detects obstructions.
So the Jeep Compass, now it does get a little more equipment on its European version, but like I said, in terms of structure and build quality, we're assured that it's the same car that's built here in India. So that 5-star rating, very good news. Now let's talk about the monsoon that's still pretty much gripping different parts of the country, and there's lots of reports coming in about flooding from most of our major cities caused by the rain. Now, in that kind of scenario, you have lots of cars getting damaged, and while of course that damage can be fixed, it sometimes has long-term implications. So a lot of people like to offload those cars into the used car market right after this season. How should we be careful about buying one of those cars, or rather not buying one of them? CYRUS has some details.
With the recent floods in cities like Mumbai and in several parts of the northeast affecting daily life, cars often end up taking quite the brunt. Driven through deep water or being submerged in standing water can cause a lot of damage to a car, and after every flood situation there is always a spurt in used refurbished cars coming up for sale. So here are some tips that you can use to avoid getting stuck with a flood damaged lemon. Now the first thing you need to do when you're checking out a car that you suspect has some sort of water damage is just make yourself comfortable, get in it, and just smell. Just take a deep whiff and let the smell talk to you. Now if you get a musty or a slightly moldy smell, that means that there is some sort of water retention somewhere, and yes, there might be some sort of flood damage or water damage. So the next step is really go and check those nooks and crannies, feel them, touch them. Another easy way to detect water leaking into a car are foggy windows. Especially on newer cars, the windows should never be foggy on the inside. If there is a layer of mist that forms on the window, it is a sure shot sign of water damage or water leakage into the cabin. Now the easiest way to actually go about doing this is physically touch and feel all the little corners in the car. Pull the seat all the way back, check underneath the seat, all the little crevices and cracks, and pull the carpets out. Now usually water does tend to sort of accumulate in these corners, so check these corners if they are moist, and even check under the dashboard. Now this particular car is dry, but if you do feel a sort of wetness on your fingertips, that means there has been some water retention in the past, and that definitely needs to be checked out. A car with brand new seat covers installed just before the seller tries to sell it is often hiding a deadly secret. Ask for the covers to be taken off and the seats to be inspected in their original form. Often flood damaged cars have the seats and interior trim shampoo washed, and that can also leave it discolored or mismatched if done hastily. Now another aspect of the car that you really must check out is the electronics. Now by nature, electronics and water don't really get along. In fact, they hate each other. So get into a car that you are looking at, start her up, make sure all the dashboard lights come up, make sure the infotainment system works, make sure the AC works, and if you have a car with a USB slot, actually plug in your phone and see if that works too. So it does. Now the other little trick or little hack that you can use is to actually turn the radio on and turn the volume up a little bit and see if the speakers are working correctly, because water does filter into the door pads and usually damages the speaker. And if the car is with a dealer and if he's trying to pass it on, make a quick buck, speakers are not something that they usually will replace. So simple stuff, just turn on the radio, turn the volume up, and well, if they work and if there's no static interference, you're sort of good to go. If there is, you might need to get it checked. After you are done with the cabin, be sure to open the boot and feel around the carpet there. Take out the spare tire and also check for water collecting in the spare tire area or signs of untimely rust. And finally, make your way to the engine bay and check the oil. Oil level should be correct and the oil itself should have an even sheen. A brownish or chocolatey colored oil is a sure shot sign of water presence in the engine or a leaky head gasket, both of which are expensive to fix.
Commercial break time here as always, folks, but as always we have more coming up. Please keep watching.